So training day's arrived with the bus. I was going to bring it over the middle of the yard and get sideways to it and flip it, and then sideways to it, flip it back over, but that's kind of a pretty simple pull over thing. I have some other ideas that we're going to try later. So instead I set up kind of like a single lane inline upright, because that's much more difficult and also much more likely to what you'd end up with on the side of the road. So we got a bus on its side, we got a Zacklift, and we're going to do some stuff. So we have the dump trailer sitting there right behind it to empty all the stuff out of the back of it and clean the thing out. And I thought of moving it, but then I'm like, nope, this would be a lot more realistic for like obstacles on the side of the road. So we're gonna leave that there and try not to smash it. And then we got the Zacklift here, which we're gonna stand it up with and try to put this thing right between the two. So Ethan.
Yeah.
What's the most important goal we have for this whole deal?
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna venture a guess.
What's your guess?
When we do flop it back this way, it doesn't go this way.
No.
No.
It's we don't roll our own truck over while we're doing it.
Okay.
Because look where we're pulling, way off the side.
Yeah.
If we put that boom way up in the air, way off the side and pull, we can flip our own truck over.
Gotcha.
And also, if we were to set up in line with this thing, like right over there,
yeah,
then when it's coming back over, if we tried to catch it, it could flip our truck over this way.
Gotcha.
So we don't want to flip over the tow truck.
We only want to flip this back over onto its wheels once.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about flipping my own tow truck.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens.
It does.
Yep.
Gravity and, Isaac Newton and what have you.
Yeah. There's been quite a few wreckers who've been flipped over while trying to flip something. Because look how wide my outrigger base is.
Right.
And then look how high up in the air the boom's going to be. The cable is going to be outside the platform of the outriggers, which means it could pull the truck over. So we've got a couple little things we're going to do to try to make that not happen.
Okay.
But
I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you start pulling outside of that triangle, you can start pulling it over.
If your fall line, like the angle of your rope, is within your outrigger platform, you're pulling down into the truck. It's pulling it to the ground.
Gotcha.
As soon as it passes outside of that outrigger platform, where your line force is pulling, you're now, the weight of the truck is all it's holding it there. If you get too much more weight over here than you have over here, you can roll your truck.
Gotcha.
Another thing we're going to do, since the bus is already on its side, and obviously this thing's not going to run again, well, I opened the hood. It's got a 2-stroke V8 Detroit diesel in it. So as long as there's not a rod hanging out of the side of the block, that engine will run. But I have no desire to make it running like that. We're going to have to tow this thing out of here.
Yes.
Doesn't it look like it's a lot easier to pull the driveline right now than once it's back on its wheels?
You know, I think you're right, Casey.
So when we go to do a rollover, we'll always pull the driveline first before we flip it back over. Because just look how nice and convenient it is right here to get to.
Yeah.
So we're kind of pretending like this right here is the lane of the road. The bus rolled off onto the shoulder. My truck here is sitting in the lane, and we've got the other lane over here wide open for one-way traffic to still go through and not shut down the whole road. That's kind of the scenario we're setting up here. Okay, driveline is out. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to put some boards down, because the way we're going to be pulling this thing, since we're sitting in front of it, is going to want to pull it forward from the angle of the lines. We don't want it to do that, so as it starts to come up, it's going to want to roll forward, so we put these boards here where the tire is going to land. If we put them over here, it does no good, because as it stands up, they're going to land right here. So we want to keep them off this way. You know where we screwed up? We didn't look at something first.
What's that?
Where's the parking brake?
Right there.
What did we remove?
The driveline.
It's not an air brake one where the parking brake's right here, or most of the driveline brakes are back here. So we have no more. It's totally free roll.
It is.
We can fix that. So here's the question. I want some people in the comments to answer. Did we save ourselves some work by pulling the driveline while it's on its side, not while it's upright? Or do we create more work for ourselves because of what we have to do now to stop it from rolling now that there's no parking brake? Answer below.
Now, Casey, what's your opinion here? Do we bork ourselves?
No, because what we're going to do is probably best to be done anyway. We're going to run a chain through this rim, and then we're going to come back here and tie it back to this cross member and tighten it. And that's not going to be able to turn anymore. So it's going to lock up that wheel. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do the same thing to the front wheel, since as we're going to be pulling it over more by the front of this thing than anyway. than anything. So that's where a lot of the weight's going to be. So I'll probably do the same thing to the front wheel too. So we're going to need 2 of our smaller chains and 2 binders. We're going to go through the rims, back to a cross member, do the same thing up there. This is good. It's practice. All different scenarios.
Yes. I have no experience in this. I've never rolled something like this back onto its wheels.
I have never rolled a bus back onto its wheels in my own driveway either.
There you go. I've never rolled anything back onto its own wheels.
It's basically just going to be like the ultimate parking brake.
Yeah.
There's a spacer between the wheels. There's not a gap between them. This thing is going to fight us every which way it can. These are the old Dayton wheels.
Oh.
So they have a spacer between and they clamp together around that spacer. So I can't go through the rim, but we'll get it. It's good when practice goes wrong. Look at that.
Dude. It's like you've done this before.
Like I said, I have never flipped the bus back over in my own driveway before. So now we do have to crawl back under the bus to undo all this stuff afterwards. Okay, let's do the front wheel too. Okay, parking brake's on. So we're gonna spike this thing, which means we're gonna go down to the outrigger on that side far away, and then come back up to this front axle up high and pull down on the front axle while we lift on this side of the bus with our high line. And we're gonna put most of our force over there, which is down on that far low side of the truck, pulling the bus down instead of lifting it up. If we grab this axle and pull down on this axle, pull this bus over, we're gonna be trying to rip the suspension apart. So what we do is we wrap a chain around the frame and either the axle or the spring right here, ideally the axle, to the frame, so that when we pull, it'll pull tight on that chain and be pulling right into the frame here, not ripping this axle off, because it would really suck to get it part way up and have the axle rip off. The other thing we can do is we can either hook right here, but to get ourselves some more leverage on our pull down, we can rim sling this rim right here and pull from up here, pulling down, but that chain's right here holding it. That'll give us some more leverage on this. And when you're pulling down onto it, this thing has a bunch of lug nuts and stuff sticking out. Actually, these stupid Dayton wheels, I don't even know if it does. No, it doesn't. But on most trucks, like my rollback or something like that, where the lug nuts are sticking up from the rim, if you can get those to bite into the ground, that'll stop it from wanting to slide over. It'll make it bite and roll instead. These rims don't have that because they're these dumb wheels, but we'll make it work. We took the battery out of this, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going to be going over the starter post. So. Okay. So we're hooked in here. We're not using a binder or anything, because as we pull, it'll pull this chain tight, and then once it's sitting on all its own weight again, it'll make it loose. So the other thing is we just don't put it so tight that we can't get it loose in case that doesn't happen for some reason. That should be good. Okay, now we're going to get up here. We're going to not go where the valve stem is and put a rim sling in here. Look at that. Just. Oh.
You all right?
Nope, hit my ostomy. I gotta go check on that.
All right.
Ooh, that's not good. Okay, so what just happened here some of you know I have an ileostomy. That is where I have this flange that is stuck to my stomach, what's that, connection?
Yeah.
And then the bag goes onto that, and then the end of my intestine comes out into the bag, my small intestine. When I slipped and fell off of there, I don't know which sharp edge I hit, but that sharp edge came right up through the bottom and sliced the bottom of my small intestine where it sticks out there and tore the bag and all that. And then also road rash there, which that's not a big deal. That's kind of a big deal. So went inside, pulled all this, the flange and all the stuff off and the coupler off and everything. Lots of blood. Checked it out. I think it'll be okay. If it stops bleeding, I'll check on it again tonight. If it stops bleeding and looks okay, it's okay. If not, we'll go to the hospital then. But for now, we got a bus to flip over. So we are going to continue. We've got rim sling hooked up. We're going to spin it to where it's wherever its lowest point is. I think right in there. That'll pull down and over. And then we've got our axle tied. I'm just kind of going through my head, double checking where we're at since that distracted me a little bit. But that's just part of living with an ostomy. Shit happens sometimes. Back wheel's locked up, front wheel's locked up, boards in front of each, axle tied, drive lines out. Ready to start running some rope. So,
just cameraman's. Are you in pain? Are you hurting right now?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but sitting in the house on the couch is not going to make it not hurt. So why sit on the couch?
Yeah,
in the house?
I'm just asking because I'm like, that looked like it hurt.
It hurts, yes.
So.
It's in pain. But like I said, sitting there on the couch, something like that isn't going to make it not hurt. So might as well get the job done. Even though this isn't really a job that has to get done. I mean, eventually there is a bus on its side of my driveway right now, and eventually that has to change. So might as well be now. And like I said, if it's a problem later tonight, I'll go to the hospital later tonight. That's why they're open 24 hours.
Something like that.
So we're going to hook this here. And then get this out of the way. We're not going to need it. Now we're going to have to fire this up, boom up, and we need to grab something on this side to lift from. There's debate on this part. In all reality, the point you're pulling from, whatever you're pulling is running across this, whether it's here, wherever, that's where the force is. So it wouldn't matter if I hook straight to the window frame right there, or do as some of the other manufacturers and training places say, and come all the way up here. There's one of the big manufacturers in their training videos, and a few of the training certification companies say if you wrap all the way down, come underneath and go all the way up to the top frame rail, it pulls down on it and helps spin it around. And that's complete BS. They say if you hook to the bottom, it does it a little bit, but if you hook to the top frame rail, it does it a lot, and they're wrong. And anyone who agrees with them is wrong, and there's going to be people who disagree with me on that, and they're wrong too, and that's okay. It does not matter whether you come in here and hook the bottom frame rail, go all the way up there, hook the top frame rail, wrap it around this stupid thing 5 different times and hook the top frame rail. It does not help spin it around. It just doesn't. They say going here pulls around and up, going up here pulls down. In what freaking world does that make sense when this is all tied together with big steel cross members? If you're pulling down on this, you're pulling down on this just the same. But none of that matters because the rope is coming off, or the cable or strap or whatever is coming off the other side, pulling up that way. That's where you're pulling from. So the whole wrap all the way up to the high side frame rail because it spins it around, they're wrong.
So just standing here, you're confusing me with that.
It's because it doesn't make sense. That's why it's confusing. Yeah. It's just so much nicer to pull out. Like, nothing like that cable.
Yeah, the synthetic is so much nicer.
Much nicer. Like I said, we're going to make this really easy. we're just going to grab a window frame. Let me go inside. This one's just going to be an assist. The one pulling on the rim is going to be doing the vast majority of uprighting this. This is just going to help get it started up. So if I go into this front one where we're right tied into the bigger hoop, that should hold. If this was like a box truck or a semi or water truck, dump truck, whatever, we'd have lifted the front, gone all the way under, and hooked to a frame rail on the other side. It doesn't matter high or low, it's all doing the same thing. I'm going to grab a chain, and we use a chain to get to the top of the bus so the rope's not rubbing on anything. So this one, we want this hook right over the top of the bus. We don't really want any more slack than that in the chain. That way we have room in our height, and we don't, because what we don't want to do is pull up and have the hook get to the sheave head before we've got the bus to the tipping point. So I'm gonna guess right there for now. You would think that would be the part that hurts, but it's not.
Well, I can't say that I've bruised my guts before, so.
I sliced the end of it open.
Sorry, yeah.
I could like see the slice in it.
It's not, that doesn't sound confidence inspiring.
Nah,
You're a tougher guy than I am.
I'll cry later. My guess was way off.
Yeah. Thank you.
Phone's ringing. How much I bet now is when we get a call to go do something. Cascade Heavy Rescue. Tomorrow. It can be done tomorrow.
Well, that's good.
It's really good.
That's just
Even
how
on
this
top of
works.
having to take all this rigging down, like I have the rollback that can go tell what they need, but I don't feel like doing anything else today now. I don't even feel like finishing this, but we have it all rigged up, so might as well. And a lot of people are going to say, hack job, just hooking the frame in there, but it's a bus.
It's your bus, specifically your bus.
It's my bus, it's fine. We're going to tension everything up, and then once everything's got tension on it, we're going to go look at everything again and make sure. So this has got some tension, not like tight though, so we're safe. We've got the wheel change so it can't spin. We are downhill towards the truck, so if it flopped and I was wrong, it's going to roll into the back of my truck.
So that's what your brakes are on for.
Yeah, my brakes.
Yeah.
And then we've got front axle change so we don't rip the front axle apart, the suspension apart, by pivoting over on that. We've got high line the other side to help stand it up. We've got low line to spike it down. We're going to miss our obstacle back here. Hopefully we don't hit the front of the truck up there. I think we're good.
The optimal angles, brought to you by Casey.
Nothing but the best here. I don't know if my throat is just going dry or if I'm running shy on blood. We'll find out later. Okay. All right, we're gonna do a lot of our pulling with our low line and then just use this one to help stand it. So I got both of them going. There's a bus upright, single lane rollover. all you gotta do is pull forward like 3 feet, now you hook up to it. Wait, it didn't even bend up that pocket where I had the hook in the windshield frame. So my truck didn't lean and want to tip over or anything like that because a lot of the pull was on that other side. Everything stayed planted, didn't pull off over the side. The other thing is, since that boom is up out of the cradle, it doesn't have any side-to-side support other than its main hinge pin down here. So by pulling a lot with that line over there, even though this one's running way over here, they're kind of counteracting each other and not side-loading the boom, if you can keep them fairly balanced. So, other than the whole part about, you know, like falling down and slicing my intestine open and maybe having to go to the hospital later, I'm going to call this a success. Did everything we did make sense?
Everything we did makes sense. It's a lot of triangles.
A lot of triangles, yeah.
It's a lot of geometry.
The only thing we didn't do here was catch it, but that's because I wanted to spike it down. If I had a third winch on here, like a drag winch like some trucks have, I could have used the drag winch to be the spike, and I could have used the other line like this to that same rim to be what kind of catches it and sets it down easy.
I think if you were good at geometry in high school.
I never made it to geometry.
No?
I didn't even make it to algebra.
Me either.
I never made it to algebra. I only went through basic math is all I got through.
Triangles are easy, man.
It's triangles.
Yeah.
Alright, so I was gonna want to flip it over more ways and do more today and do like 3 or 4 different ones today. I think I'm done.
I don't blame you.
I think I need to go take a break. So
Call the ambulance. And
let's call that it for this video. We're gonna pack all this stuff up. Sounds like I got a long distance tow to do in the morning. And then next time, make some time, we'll have some more fun with this thing. Thanks for watching.